In February 2021, the Texas winter storm killed over 200 people and caused $200 billion in damages. Most of those deaths were preventable. Most of that damage was avoidable. People made predictable mistakes because they didn't understand what was coming or they didn't take it seriously until it was too late. In the next 48 hours, we're about to see a storm that could rival or exceed that disaster. And I'm watching people make the exact same mistakes right now in real time. I am going to walk you through the 10 deadliest mistakes people make during winter disasters, the real stories of what went wrong, and exactly how to avoid each one. Because here's the brutal truth. The difference between surviving this storm comfortably versus becoming a statistic comes down to decisions you make in the next 18 hours. Small decisions, easy decisions, but decisions that most people want to make because they don't understand the stakes. The National Weather Service just issued high-risk warnings for this storm. That S level 4 out of 4, they only do that 4% of the time. 127 million people are in the path. Emergency operations centers in 15 states activated at 3 a.m. this morning. Everyone who understands winter disasters is taking maximum action, but most regular people aren't, because they don't know what they don't know. I am going to fix that right now. Mistake number 1, waiting too long to stock up on supplies. This is the #1 killer in winter disasters, and people make this mistake every single time. Here's what happens. Thursday afternoon, you think about going to the store, but you decide to wait until Friday. Friday morning, you are at work and you think you'll go at lunch. Friday afternoon, you finally head to the store and the shelves are empty. You drive to 3 more stores, same thing. Now you are stuck at home with whatever food you already had, which is maybe 2 days worth. The storm lasts 5 days. Power is out for 2 weeks. You are eating crackers and peanut butter for a week straight. In the February 2021 Texas storm, thousands of people ran out of food within 3 days. They couldn't drive to stores because roads were ice. Stores couldn't open because they had no power. Delivery trucks couldn't get through. People were stuck eating whatever random items were in their pantry. Some people had nothing. The real story that illustrates this. A family in Austin went to the grocery store Friday evening, 48 hours before the storm. Everything was already picked over. They got some bread and milk and assumed they'd be fine. Monday morning, power went out. It didn't come back for 6 days. By Wednesday, they were out of food. They tried to drive to a store Thursday, couldn't because of ice. They ended up eating dry pasta and ketchup for 2 days until a neighbor shared supplies. How to avoid this mistake. Stock up today, Thursday afternoon before 6 p.m. Not tomorrow, today. Get 7 to 10 days of non-perishable food. Protein bars, canned goods, peanut butter, crackers, things that need no cooking and no refrigeration. Get 1 gallon of water per person per day for 7 days. Yes, that's a lot of water. Yes, you need it. When power goes out, water stops flowing within 24 hours in many areas. Toilet water, drinking water, everything stops. Don't wait. Don't think you'll beat the rush tomorrow. You won. Go now. Mistake number 2, relying on electricity for heat without a backup plan. This mistake killed dozens of people in Texas in 2021. Most Texas homes are heated purely by electricity. When the grid failed, people had 0 backup options. Their houses dropped to freezing temperatures within hours. Some people tried to heat their homes with charcoal grills inside. 4 people died from carbon monoxide poisoning doing exactly this. Others tried to use gas stoves for heat. Same result. Dead. The real story. A family in Houston lost power Monday morning during the 2021 storm. By Monday night, their house was 40 degrees. By Tuesday morning, 35 degrees. They didn't have a fireplace. They didn't have a generator. They tried using their gas stove for heat. Tuesday afternoon, they all had headaches and felt dizzy. The wife was confused. They called 911, carbon monoxide poisoning. They survived, but barely. How to avoid this mistake. If your home is heated by electricity only, you need a backup plan today. If you have a fireplace, get firewood now, a full cord if possible. If you have space heaters, get them ready, but understand they require power. If you have a generator, test it today and get fuel. If you have none of these, your backup plan is knowing where the warming centers are in your area and being ready to go there when your house drops to 50 degrees. Also get carbon monoxide detectors if you don't have them. Get battery-powered ones, put them in every room. Carbon monoxide kills people every winter storm because they try to use outdoor equipment inside for heat. Don't become a statistic. Mistake number 3, not protecting pipes. Burst pipes caused billions of dollars in damage during the 2021 Texas storm. Billions. The average burst pipe damage is $15,000 to $30,000 when you include water damage, mold remediation, repairs, hotel costs while your house is uninhabitable. Most of this damage was completely preventable with simple steps that cost $0. The real story. A couple in Dallas went to work Friday before the 2021 storm. They left their heat at normal temperature, didn't think about their pipes. Power went out Saturday morning. Their house dropped below freezing by Sunday. Monday morning, they still didn't have power. Tuesday morning, they heard water running. A pipe burst in their attic. Water poured through their ceiling into their living room, bedrooms, everywhere. By the time they got it shut off, 3 rooms were flooded. Total damage was $42,000. Their insurance covered some, but they were out of pocket $18,000 and lived in a hotel for 2 months while repairs happened. How to avoid this mistake? Starting tonight, Thursday night, let all faucets drip, both hot and cold, just a small stream. This keeps water moving and prevents freezing. Open cabinet doors under sinks to let warm air reach pipes. Insulate exposed pipes in basements, attics, crawl spaces. Use foam pipe insulation or just wrap them in towels and tape. Disconnect outdoor hoses, drain them completely, cover outdoor faucets. If you re-evacuating and leaving your house empty, shut off your main water valve and drain the system. If you are staying, keep faucets dripping through the entire event. This is the cheapest insurance you will ever buy. $20 in pipe insulation could save you $30,000 in damage. Mistake number 4. Not charging devices before power goes out. This seems obvious, but thousands of people make this mistake. Your phone is your lifeline during disasters. It's how you get weather updates, how you call for help, how you communicate with family. If your phone dies and you have no way to charge it, you are completely isolated. You have no information. You can call 911. You are on your own. The real story. A woman in Oklahoma City lost power Saturday morning during an ice storm. Her phone was at 30% when the power went out. She used it normally Saturday, checking social media, texting friends. By Saturday evening, her phone died. She had no car charger because her car was buried in ice. She had no battery bank because she never bought one. For 3 days, she had no phone, no way to know what was happening, no way to call anyone. When she finally got power back Wednesday, she had 72 missed calls from family who thought she was dead. How to avoid this mistake? Friday morning, charge everything. Phone, tablet, laptop, battery banks, rechargeable flashlights, anything with a battery. Do full charge cycles. Let them charge overnight Thursday into Friday. Buy battery banks today if you don't have them. Get car chargers. Charge devices to 100% before the storm hits Friday afternoon. During the storm, use your phone conservatively. Scroll social media for hours. Check weather updates, communicate essential information, then put it down. A fully charged phone can last 5 to 7 days if you are conservative. A phone you use constantly will die in 1 day. Mistake number 5, trying to drive during the storm. This mistake kills people every single winter storm. Ice-covered roads are not just slippery, they completely impassable. A road with 1/2 inch of ice is like a skating rink. Your car cannot get traction. 4-wheel drive doesn't help on ice. Snow tires don't help on ice. Nothing helps. You will slide, you will crash. Or worse, you'll get stuck and freeze to death in your car. The real story. During the 2021 Texas storm, a man in Fort Worth ran out of food Tuesday. He decided to drive to a grocery store. He made it 2 blocks before his car slid into a ditch. He tried to get out. Couldn't he? He tried to call for help. Tow trucks weren't operating because conditions were too dangerous. He sat in his car for 8 hours waiting for help. The temperature was 15 degrees. He ran his car for heat, but eventually ran out of gas. He started getting symptoms of hypothermia, confusion, slurred speech. He called 911 again. Ambulance couldn't reach him because roads were impassable. A neighbor finally walked out to him with blankets and brought him inside. He survived but lost 3 toes to frostbite. How to avoid this mistake? Do not drive once the storm starts Friday afternoon. Do not drive Saturday. Do not drive Sunday. Convince yourself your emergency is worth the risk. It's not. If you run out of food, you want to die in 3 days. You'll be hungry and uncomfortable, but you want to die. If you try to drive on ice and get stuck in negative 10-degree weather, you could actually die. Stock up today so you don't need to drive. Then stay home. Leave your house until authorities say roads are safe, which probably want to be until Tuesday or Wednesday. Mistake number 6. Using generators, grills, or camping stoves indoors. This mistake kills people every single winter storm, and people still do it because they don't understand how deadly carbon monoxide is. Carbon monoxide is invisible. It is odorless. You can detect it without a detector. It kills you within hours. Symptoms include headache, dizziness, nausea, confusion. By the time you realize something is wrong, you might be too confused to save yourself. The real story. During a winter storm in Tennessee, a family lost power. They brought their generator into their garage and ran it with the garage door closed because it was cold outside. Within 3 hours, the entire family had carbon monoxide poisoning. The parents were unconscious. The teenage daughter realized something was wrong and called 911 before she passed out. Emergency services arrived and found all 4 family members unconscious. They all survived, but the father had permanent brain damage from oxygen deprivation. How to avoid this mistake? Never run a generator indoors. Never run it in a garage, even with the door open. Never run it in a basement. Never run it near windows. Set it up at least 20 feet from your house in an open area. Same rules for grills and camping stoves. These are outdoor equipment. Use them outdoors only. Get battery-powered carbon monoxide detectors if you don't have them. Put one in every bedroom and one in your main living area. Test them today. Replace batteries if needed. This is literally life or death. Mistake number 7, not having cash. This seems minor, but it becomes critical during extended power outages. When power goes out, credit card readers don't work. ATMs don't work. Banks are closed. If you need to buy something, borrow something, hire someone to help you, cash is the only option. In past disasters, people couldn't buy food from neighbors, couldn't pay for a ride to a warming center, couldn't purchase supplies from the few stores that were open, and cash only. The real story. After the 2021 Texas storm, a woman needed to buy water from a neighbor who had extra. The neighbor asked for $10. The woman only had credit cards. The neighbor couldn't take credit cards. The woman had to go without water for another day until her husband could get to a functioning ATM 30 miles away. How to avoid this mistake? Go to an ATM today and get $200 to $300 in small bills. 20s, 10s, 5s. Keep this cash in your emergency supplies. Don't spend it unless it is an actual emergency. After the storm, you can deposit it back. But during the storm, it could be the difference between getting what you need and going without. Mistake number 8, ignoring warming center information. Pride kills people during winter disasters. People don't want to go to warming centers. They don't want to admit they need help. They think they can tough it out. Then their house drops to 28 degrees. They develop hypothermia. They become confused. They fall. They die in their own home because they were too proud to go to a warming center when they should have. The real story. An elderly man in Arkansas lost power during an ice storm. His house dropped to 30 degrees by the second day. Neighbors checked on him, offered to take him to a warming center. He refused, said he'd be fine. By day 4, his house was 25 degrees. He was wrapped in every blanket he had, but he was shivering constantly. His thinking was slow. He was showing signs of hypothermia, but he didn't recognize it. A neighbor finally called 911 and insisted they check on him. Emergency services brought him to a hospital. He had moderate hypothermia and early-stage frostbite on his hands. Another day and he would have died. How to avoid this mistake? Know where warming centers are in your area right now. Find out today. Know when they open, what you need to bring, how to get there. Then set a hard temperature limit. If your house drops to 40 degrees, you go. No debate. No waiting to see if it gets better. You go. Your pride is not worth your life. For elderly people, the limit should be higher. If you are over 65 and your house drops to 50 degrees, go to a warming center. Your body can regulate temperature as well. You are at higher risk. Mistake number 9, not checking on neighbors. Social isolation during disasters leads to preventable deaths. Elderly people die in their homes and nobody knows for days. People with medical emergencies can get help because phone lines are down and nobody checks on them. Families run out of supplies and don't ask for help until it's too late. All of this is preventable with simple neighbor checks. The real story. During the 2021 Texas storm, an elderly woman lived alone. She lost power Monday. By Thursday, her house was freezing and she had run out of food. She didn't want to bother anyone, so she didn't call for help. Her neighbor thought about checking on her but assumed she was fine. Friday, another neighbor noticed her hadn't seen her in days and went to check. Found her unconscious from hypothermia, called 911. She survived but was hospitalized for 2 weeks. How to avoid this mistake? Today, Thursday, talk to your neighbors, especially elderly neighbors living alone. Exchange phone numbers. Agree to check on each other daily during the storm. Make a plan. Who will check on who? Who has special needs? Who has supplies to share? Then actually do it. Check on them. Knock on their door. Call them. Make sure they re-okay. If they re-not, help them. Take them to a warming center. Share supplies. Call emergency services if needed. Do not assume they re-fine. Check. Mistake number 10. Thinking it won to be that bad. This is the meta mistake that leads to all the others. People hear forecasts and think forecasters are exaggerating. They think it won to actually be as bad as predicted. They think they've been through winter weather before and they were fine. Then the storm hits and it's worse than forecast, and they unprepared, and they suffer consequences that could have been avoided. The real story is every single disaster. People who say, I didn't to think it would actually be this bad. People who say, I should have prepared more. People who say, I didn't to take it seriously. These people end up suffering the most because they made decisions based on hope instead of preparation. The worst case during the 2021 Texas storm was a family who lost power for 14 days. 14 days in a house that dropped to 32 degrees. They ran out of food on day 5. They couldn't drive anywhere because of ice. Neighbors shared what they could, but everyone was running low. The family ate rice and beans for 9 days straight. The kids were traumatized. The parents were traumatized. All of it could have been avoided if they'd have taken the forecast seriously and stocked up before the storm. How to avoid this mistake? Believe the forecast. The National Weather Service doesn't issue high-risk warnings lightly. When they say this is a historic, life-threatening storm, believe them. When they say prepare for extended power outages, believe them. When they say stock up on supplies, do it. Don T. Gamble. Don T. think you'll be lucky. Don T. assume it won to be as bad as they say. Prepare for the worst-case scenario. If it ends up not being that bad, great. You have extra supplies. You can use them later or donate them. But if it is that bad and you are not prepared, the consequences could be catastrophic. Let me give you the reality check that most forecasts 1T. This storm is forecast to produce ice accumulation of 1 to 1.5 inches across major cities. That Memphis, Little Rock, Nashville, Charlotte. 1.5 inches of ice is catastrophic. Power infrastructure cannot handle it. Trees cannot handle it. When trees fall on power lines, the power lines come down. When power lines come down, you lose power. When you lose power in 15-degree weather, your house becomes uninhabitable within a day. Power companies are already telling customers to prepare for multi-week outages. Not multi-day, multi-week. Entergy Arkansas brought in 3,000 extra workers, and they still saying restoration could take weeks in some areas. Memphis Light Gas and Water said this could be their worst event ever. Duke Energy in the Carolinas is preparing for what they called a multi-state, multi-week restoration effort. These are not exaggerations. These are official statements from utility companies based on the forecast ice accumulation. They know their infrastructure, they know what it can handle, and they retelling you it can handle this. So here's your final reality check. You have 18 hours left to prepare. After 6 p.m. Friday, your options become extremely limited. After midnight Friday, stores are closed or empty. After Saturday morning, you are dealing with whatever preparation you did or didn't do. The mistakes I just walked you through killed hundreds of people and cost hundreds of billions of dollars in past storms. Every single one is preventable. Every single one comes down to decisions you make in the next 18 hours. Stock up on supplies today. Protect your pipes tonight. Charge your devices Friday morning. Have a heat backup plan. Get cash. Know where warming centers are. Check on neighbors. Don T. drive during the storm. Don T. use outdoor equipment indoors. Take this seriously. I'll be providing live updates throughout this storm with specific guidance as conditions change. Make sure you resubscribed and notifications are on. Learn from past mistakes. Don T. repeat them.